what are the elements of national security? क्या क्या होता है national security में? What is it that we have to cover in national security? Elements of national security. Elements of national security. क्या क्या cover होता है national security में? You need to tell me. I am giving you 2 minutes to think. And in 2 minutes में मैं भी कुछ कुछ बोर्ड पे लिख रहा हूं, उसको इग्नोर करो. You focus on what you can think. क्या क्या elements होते हैं? जैसे कि military security is one element. What are the other elements? You need to write. जब भी हमें नेशनल सिक्योरिटी का कोई ब्रॉड क्वेश्चन आएगा, ब्रॉड क्वेश्चन, तो या फिर मान लो ऐसे आ जाए, हमें एक ब्रॉड डायमेंशन नेशनल सिक्योरिटी की पता होनी चाहिए. वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड अ ब्रॉड बिग डायमेंशन ऑफ नेशनल सिक्योरिटी. उसके लिए आई एम गिविंग यू अ निमोनिक. एम से याद कर लो. एम इज मिलिट्री. मिलिट्री तो आपको याद रहेगा ही, बट यू कैन रिमेंबर माई गर्लफ्रेंड. प्लीज टेक दिस लाइटली, ठीक है? माई गर्लफ्रेंड इज फॉर एवर रेडी टू ईट चिप्स. माई गर्लफ्रेंड इज फॉर एवर रेडी टू ईट चिप्स. माई से मिलिट्री. फॉर एवर में 4 ई हैं. वॉट आर द 4 ईज? इकोनॉमिक सिक्योरिटी, एनर्जी सिक्योरिटी, environmental security. So even the idea of climate change as a warming war is part of national security. Cyber security, health security, information security. ठीक है? Then we have to write about our political security, our resource security, our disaster security. ठीक है? Our geostrategic security, our food security. Clear? Now national security जब हम सोचेंगे, हम इतना ही broadly सोचेंगे कि military security, economic, energy, even I am not remembering the 4th E. Cyber, health, political, informational, resource security, disaster security, geostrategic security, food security. ये मुझे याद रखना है. Whenever I am thinking about national security, I have to think along this big framework. It was ethnic security. The 4th E was ethnic security. So military security, economic, energy, environmental, ethnic security, cyber security, health security, information, resource, political, geostrategic, food and disaster. When it comes to military security, we have to protect from external military threats and manage physical threats like border security and coastal security. External military threats में क्या होगा? External invasion, terrorism, cyber attacks. Economic security में we have to protect our national wealth, economic freedom of the state and economic freedom of the citizens. We have to protect economic sectors. When it comes to energy security, we have to maintain uninterrupted supply of energy. So international and energy assets we have to secure. For example, if there is a war in the Middle East, जैसे अभी चल रहा है, it impacts India's energy security. When there was a war between Russia, Ukraine, still ongoing, it impacts our food security because fertilizer inflow is coming from Russia, Ukraine. That's where we get most of our urea from. When it comes to environmental security, climate change is often referred to as a warming war. Because climate change होता है, उससे migration होती है, उससे challenges होते हैं, sea level rise होता है, disasters आते हैं. So it's also part of our national security. When we are thinking of pollution, it is transnational in nature and it is part of our environmental security. We have to avoid sectional conflicts within various ethnicities. Mob violence, riots is also a part of our national security. अब cyber security तो syllabus में ही है, right? So we know that. But health security was not the COVID-19 pandemic a major challenge to our health security when so many of our citizens died? Then information security. Information warfare is a new concept, but it is increasingly being used. You might remember the case of a BBC documentary about the 2002 riots. It was clearly done to defame India and to have certain, fractures within our communal harmony. So the Honorable Vice President gave a statement to the Indian Information Service officers saying that you are our bulwarks, our pawns in the fight against information warfare. So information security is also there. This includes the protection of privacy, taking data as a public good, and information that affects national security. So even espionage. Espionage is spying, right? This is also part of our national security. Then resource security. Isme water conflicts and water security. China often uses the strategy of not sharing hydrological data of the Brahmaputra with us, and that leads to floods in the northeast, right? We have an Indus water treaty with Pakistan, and a lot of times we think because of Pakistan's state-sponsored terrorism that we should, stop this treaty. Resource security and water conflicts. Then political security of maintaining our national sovereignty, maintaining the stability of our government, honoring human rights of every citizen by the state. This is also a dimension of internal security, and this has been asked. जो हमने AFSPA का क्वेश्चन देखा, ये चीज पूछी जा चुकी है, राइट? देन जियो स्ट्रैटेजिक सिक्योरिटी. यहां पर एक मेजर कीवर्ड है स्ट्रेटेजिक ऑटोनॉमी. देखो, आपको एक बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग चीज बताता हूं, राइट? एंड प्लीज डोंट नीड टू राइट दिस डाउन, स्क्रिबल कर लो, आगे के लिए याद रख लेना. इन द 1960s, India was a net food importer. So we had something called PL 480, Public Law 480. ये था USA का public law to import food to India. Now USA was allies with Pakistan. India and Pakistan go to war in 1965. At this time, what happens? USA uses PL 480 to arm twist India and says that if you don't follow the following conditions, we will not give you food under PL 480 and it will lead to a food security disaster. So food security तो आ गया, आगे देखो. Now India is fighting a war with Pakistan, but India's autonomy, rather India's strategic autonomy, is under threat due to being a food importer. So how does India face this challenge? She goes for a green revolution. And within a matter of 5 to 6 years, India becomes a net food exporter. First becomes self-sufficient, then starts exporting food. But the green revolution was done in this context. So the green revolution was actually an emergency response. We were in a state of emergency, I don't mean political emergency, state of emergency. Why? Because PL 480 कभी भी US यूज करके हमारा आर्म ट्विस्ट कर सकता था, तो हमें जल्दी में ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन एग्जीक्यूट करना था. अब अगर मुझे जल्दी में ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन एग्जीक्यूट करना है, what happens to me, right? What do I need to do if I have to do such a big task of the green revolution, but I have to do it quickly? So I do the green revolution only in areas that are well irrigated, जहां मुझे पता है that if I put the high yielding variety of seeds, they will bear results. So I focus in the green revolution in some areas like Punjab, Haryana, and UP, some parts of UP, right? What does this lead to? This leads to a new problem. The new problem is that these states become much more economically viable. These states get a lot more money. When these states get a lot more money, what happens? A lack of balanced regional development. Regional development is now not balanced. The eastern part of India does not get the benefits of Green Revolution. When one part of the country, if this is India, this is just a rough map. If this part of the country is getting the benefits of the Green Revolution, getting the prosperity of the Green Revolution, but this part stays poor, stays deprived. So because of this deprivation in this part of the country, people do not get proper development and are pushed towards extremism. And which extremism is this? Left-wing extremism. So the non-equitable distribution of the Green Revolution is one of the reasons. Also, the failure of land reforms is one of the reasons of the eastern part of the country not getting enough development. This developmental vacuum, then, a vacuum of development is created. It is occupied by the left-wing extremists, and they are able to have the ideology of Naxalism here. So the idea of PL 480 and our strategic autonomy is connected to the internal security threat of Naxalism. Of course, this is not the only reason. जब Naxalism detail में पढ़ेंगे तो समझेंगे. But समझ आ रहा है how interlinkages happen. So even the idea of strategic autonomy, that I want to do whatever I want strategically. India Pakistan पे nuclear weapon चलाना चाहे तो चला ले. No other country in the world can influence our decision making. When we will be self-sufficient. So connect this to the idea of Atmanirbhar Bharat. समझ आ रहा है? ये interlinkages करना I will teach you, right? But you understand that how strategic autonomy in terms of defense purchases हम आगे देखेंगे, but strategic autonomy in general is a major idea when it comes to national security. Then there is the idea of food security. ये तो हमने देख ही लिया. PL 480 is also an example of our food security. And finally, disaster security. Mitigation and quick responses to disaster is also part of our internal security.